Hi, friends.
This is History for the Books. I'm Katie.
And Allie forgot how this works.
And I'm Allie. And today we are talking to you about one of Allie's favorite books ever, right?
Yeah. My
It's-
all-time favorite book.
Oh, it
like
is.
one of them.
It is the
Next,
favorite.
like, here's Akatar. Here's Addie Larue.
See, you're about to know why. Your phone locked again. But it is The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. Her.
Yeah.
Her last name
Mm-hmm.
is fun to say. Okay, are you ready to hear about it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to relive it all over again.
Also, can we just say don't mind what we look like? If you're watching this on YouTube,
you're probably not.
You're probably not, A, but B, just don't look at us.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's fine.
This is a Spotify episode. Hop on over there. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in. This is going to be short, sweet, to the point. How we like it.
We love it.
So, The Invisible Life of Addie Larue is about this girl, okay? Addie Larue.
Adeline.
Yeah, but come on.
Official name is Adeline.
Okay, her official name is Adeline. Adeline Larue. And it starts in the 18th century when she's about to be married off. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
She does not want this. She's like, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
And so she takes off into the night or day.
Into the night.
Yeah, okay, into the night.
Well, no. It's almost nighttime. It's like dusk.
Okay, listen, just pause. Allie is going to stop me at every chance she has to correct my ass because I haven't read this book in so long.
I haven't either, but I remember it because I love it.
I know.
Which is very rare.
Just, if I look like I don't want to know what I'm talking about, it's probably because Allie's just going to correct me.
I'm going to correct you, so it's fine.
So, okay,
it's dusk.
She takes off at dusk, okay? The night before her wedding.
Yes.
And she goes by the river. And she, like, is praying. If anyone's listening to me, all the gods in the whole wide world, if anyone's listening, please save me from this horrible fate of getting married. Amen. And some stranger.
She's missing a key part.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay, let me just, I'll just take over Katie's job and Katie can just take over my job.
Yeah, do you just want to do the whole thing?
Yeah, I'll just do the whole thing. So, Addie met this old lady and, okay, so Katie forgets plots. I forget names. It's, like, Essie, Essex.
It's not Essex.
I don't know. This old lady, who's like her neighbor or something. But
she's a witch.
She's believed to be a witch. But she's just an old lady who's living there by herself. And this old lady's like, Addie, she's very much enthralled in the ways of the old gods, you know? And she's like, Addie, do not ever pray to gods after night, girl, because nothing good happens.
Yes, I remember this.
So Addie goes at dusk to the woods and she starts to pray. It's still daylight out and she knows that she has to pray before it gets dark, but she's still praying when it becomes dark. It just turned dark.
So may I continue
now?
Yeah,
you can now.
Okay.
That was a key part, though.
Okay. So when it turns dark and little Addie is still out there praying to the old gods, this demonic entity comes through. Okay? His
dark.
Yeah, he's handsome. Kind of like hitches her breath because he's handsome, you know? And he tells her, essentially, I'll make a deal with you, okay? If you don't want to get married, you can live eternally. I'll let you live eternally, okay? And what else was part of that deal?
Well, she asked him for the deal.
Yeah.
He asked her, he said, "What do you want?" And she said, I don't want to get married." And he's like, "That's not even worth my time granting you that wish. Like,
Right.
what do you want?" And then she's like, uh I want to live forever. And then he's like,
She basically wants more out of her life. Like, she wants to
right,
travel. She wants to see all the things. And
right,
she knows she doesn't have time to do all of
right,
that. So she's like, I want to live forever so that
right.
I can do all these things I want to do.
Yeah, he's like, "But I can't just let you live forever. Like, I gotta get something out of this, and I gotta have your soul eventually." So,
Mm-hmm. So he's like, I will grant you immortal life if at the end I get your soul.
mm-hmm,
And she's like, sold.
mm-hmm.
Amen. Let's go.
Because I'm never gonna give you my soul because I'm gonna live
Yeah.
forever, So
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah. She's like, well, that's an easy deal for me to
Mm-hmm,
take because I get to live forever
mm-hmm,
and I will live forever and I will never have to actually follow
mm-hmm.
through with this bargain. So they strike up their deal and so she's like going on through her life, right? She's living, she's going and talking to people, but the weird thing Addie realizes when she meets somebody, they forget her instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the second their eyes leave her, they forget who she is.
I think one of the first people was her dad,
Ooh, yeah, I think I
and
remember that.
like Essie or whatever the old lady's name
Yeah,
was.
they don't remember who she is.
Yeah.
And so, like, she could, like, if I was looking at you and I'm like, hi, I'm Katie, and then you were to look over there
Mm-hmm.
for a second and then turn around, you'd be like, who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm.
That was Addie's life.
Mm-hmm.
It locked again. So she has to go through this, her whole existence, immortal existence, never
From
forming.
17, what is it, like 1717 or something like that?
Yeah, she's young.
17th year, 1717
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
till
the
current.
18th century, but she lives a long time.
That's what I was trying to get at.
So, she is never allowed to forge relationships.
Yeah.
Basically, which, how horrible.
Yeah.
How horrible. So, and also anytime she tries to like write her name or draw a picture or kind of recount her life or make a mark on the future, it's erased.
It's gone.
It will disappear, and like she can never, no one ever knows she's there. She can have a conversation, but she can't do anything past that. So she ends up like becoming a sex worker at one point, and anytime she like wakes up the next day next to the person she slept with, they don't recall who she is.
Right.
Like it's real awkward.
Right.
She hated that. Like it's like the bane of her existence.
Right.
But she spends a lot of time like homeless, basically.
Yeah.
Because imagine trying to get a house.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they're like to rent to new people and you're just living there because they don't remember ever renting it to you.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's the 18th century, so no one would be renting to a woman anyways.
Right.
So she's like living off the street, basically. Yeah. So there's a lot more that goes on there. Like she freezes to death at one point, and she's put into a big cart with a bunch of dead bodies. And she obviously can't die, so she wakes up with a bunch of dead bodies on top of her. Ugh. Yep. But she can like just leave because no one remembers even picking her up off the side of the street anyways.
And then this whole thing, she's like, not giving up my soul. And like, Luke.
I was getting there.
Oh, go ahead then. Go ahead.
He comes back every single year on the anniversary of when they struck the deal. And he's like, you ready to give up yet? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when she is ready to give up, she doesn't want to, like, give him what he wants.
Yeah.
They have a very, like...
love-hate relationship.
Love-hate, yeah. They end up actually having a hot and heavy relationship at one point.
Yeah.
For 3 years. Until Addie calls it quits because she just thinks it's a ploy of his to get her soul faster.
Right.
So,
because he can't remember her. He's like the only one at this point that can remember her.
Yep, he's the only one who she has seen consistently year after year after year, and who knows exactly who she is and what has happened. So, I mean, obviously, that would be hard to navigate there.
Ah, Luke.
So the rest of the story takes place far in the future in 2014. There's a cute little guy working at a bookshop. His name is Henry. I want to call him Harry, but that's not his name.
Henry.
It's Henry.
And Henry.
Addie goes in, and she's gotten pretty good at this whole thing. She can steal things because people don't know who she is when she comes back. So
and that's like how she makes her living, pretty much. Like that's how she survives.
Yeah. So she goes into this bookshop to steal, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes, she was stealing a book.
Yep. And she goes out, but when she comes back in, he remembers her.
Yeah, he's like, girl, I saw you take that book. What up?
Yeah, and she's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because at this point, she's gone from the 18th century to 2014 with nobody.
Right.
Except for Luke remembering who she is. Okay? So when Henry is like, why are you being a thief?
Right.
She's like,
what? She's like, I didn't steal anything. Are you sure you remember me stealing something? Are you sure?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
It was you. I watched you do it.
You're right.
So they realize that the reason that Henry... Am I skipping something? You're looking at me like I'm skipping something.
No, that's just a really big plot twist.
Should I not say it?
It's a spoiler for sure. That's like the biggest twisty twist. But
I'm going to say it.
Okay.
So they find out the reason that Henry can remember Addie is because he has also made a deal with Luke. And so if two people have made a deal with the same person, I guess the complications of the deal don't matter anymore. Right. Henry's deal was he made it with Luke after his fiance rejected his proposal to him for marriage. And so he wanted everyone to love him. Was the deal. Which is a stupid deal.
I would not want everybody to love me. No.
But that's the deal that he makes with Luke, for everyone to love him for just a year. But when that year is up, Henry is no more. His soul goes to Luke. But by the time that Addie and Henry meet, Henry only has 36 days of that year remaining.
And I think he lied to her at one point about how long he had left.
Yeah, but they have such a cute relationship.
I know. I love Henry, but let me tell you something. I also love Luke.
I do too. I remember not like Henry's great, but he's like,
oh, I loved Henry too.
Boring human though.
Right.
Compared to dark demonic guy over there.
A dark god.
So okay, so by the time that happens, he has 36 days left, but they spend those days together all the time. And just forging this new relationship Addie's never got to have. Okay? And so when she realizes that he doesn't have a lot of time left, she's devastated. And she's like, what can I do?
Right.
Am I missing something?
I was just going to say... and I was going to say it later, but so through all her existence, right, she's had these lovers, and most of them have been like artists.
Oh, yeah. She's like influenced a lot of art.
She's influenced a lot of art, and that's kind of like her and Henry's way to talk. Like, I don't know. I remember Henry being very obsessed with the fact that she had influenced stuff, and they like vaguely remember her face, and if they do paint something, it's like her seven freckles, I think it is, or something. So
there's a very distinct feature about her that is always painted, so you know it's her if you know her,
right? But nobody knows her.
Nobody does,
exactly.
So nobody
until Henry, and then he's like, hey,
Yeah, but she's influenced a bunch of like famous painters or like people who have been
Authors.
infatuated with her for the time that they see her,
Mm-hmm.
but then they'll look at the painting that they paint and be like, where did that come
Yeah,
from?
this girl's in my dreams. I don't know who she is, but
Yeah.
she's just in my dreams.
Yep.
Not a real person.
Yeah, that was an interesting point. But meanwhile,
Yep.
Addie's devastated. She goes back to Luke. She's like, I'll strike up another deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you let him live, then I'll be with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be with you forever. You won't have to play this cat and mouse game anymore. Like, you've got me.
Mm-hmm.
But let Henry live.
Right.
Luke's like,
Okay.
no problem.
Right.
No problem. And then Addie decides she's going to just annoy the hell out of him and that he's not going to want to have her anyways. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter. The whole book is just Addie trying to get out of her deals that she's
Mm-hmm.
made with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work out well. So for her.
Yeah. Yeah. The ending, like you said, she does end up with Luke, but the very, very end, Henry creates that bookshop.
Oh, and he writes a book about her.
Mm-hmm.
He writes a
Yeah.
book called The Invisible Life of Addie Larue.
Yes.
Which
was like my part where I was like, boom, 5 stars,
Yep.
100%.
I
Like
just
if it
got
wasn't 5
chills.
stars before, it's 5 stars now.
Yeah, I just got chills
And
thinking about it.
it's called The Last Chance Bookshop, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. But he wrote that book, and then as a reader, you're sitting there going, wait, I'm reading The Invisible Life of Addie
I
Larue.
know.
So it's like you're reading the book that Henry wrote.
I just love this
Addie
so much.
Yeah.
This is a book, you remember how we were talking, I think it was last episode, about how like there's books that you just don't take criticism on. And like,
this is yours.
Yeah, this is mine. If I see somebody saying, I don't understand the hype of this, I immediately skip. Your TikTok does not get viewed by me.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day about how we don't trust a lot of people's TikToks on our last week's episode, I think. Because if they say one wrong thing about a book we love, can't be trusted.
I know.
This is Allie's.
This is mine. I got recommended this by a friend right after I read ACOTAR. So I read ACOTAR and then I read this, and they were both 5 stars. And also those were the 2 books that I started to read when I really got back into reading. So this holds a special place.
Allie recommended it to me, and she was like, I have my copy if you want to come borrow it. But
Katie just realized that
I have this problem that
I
tab my books, and I picked it up today, and I was like, Allie, you made notes in here. That's so great. And she was like, that was you.
You did that to my book.
You did
fine.
this. But the sticker says, oh shit. This is a really good book, though. I'd recommend it to anybody. I would.
Same.
You? I know you would. Okay, well, let's hear the history you got.
What'd you rate it?
Oh my God, I forget every time.
I know. That's why I'm here.
I think I gave it a
You did.
5?
You gave it a 4.
A 4. Okay.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4.
I remember you texting me. See, I just remember everything about this book.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I remember you texting me and you saying, like, I just finished Addie Larue, and I was like, what'd you think? And you said, well, like, I really, really loved it. I enjoyed it. It just was missing something. I don't know what, but it just missed something. And I was like,
if I'm being honest, though,
I just kind of want to strangle you, honestly.
No, listen, if I'm being honest, I read this. I remember reading it in our Garfield house. I was living at the Garfield house, so Parker was 1, and she was crazy. And I remember reading it when I was staying at home with her for a little bit, and I couldn't pay attention, really. Like, right now, thinking back, I will reread it, but thinking back on it, like, when we talked about how Henry wrote that book, I didn't piece that together when I was reading it. And if I would have, it would have been a 5.
I know. And you should listen to audiobook, because I listened to it on audiobook, and it's such a good audiobook.
Okay, I'll do that.
It's so good. I highly recommend.
I'll do that then.
Anyways.
A little reread.
Yeah.
Just so everyone who's listening is aware, spirits are down today.
Katie's are, mine aren't. I'm still hyped.
I'm not hyped. I'm actually highly depressed. So
Are you wanting to do a check-in or
no.
This is a bad time to check in.
If we check in, I'm gonna check out. So let's not.
Great. This is gonna be a weird one because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do for the historical
I know,
part of this.
I've been wondering what you're gonna do.
I decided to go a different route than what you said. Katie's like, just look up demons. And I said,
I don't remember saying that.
actually, I don't want to do that.
Coming
She's
from
like,
someone
look
who
up how to strike a deal with the devil. And I said, what?
coming from someone who doesn't even really remember the plot, so great time over here.
I decided instead to so Addie Larue is faced with the decision in the very beginning of the book, like, do I marry or like is there a way to get out of this marriage?
I see where we were going with this.
So I decided to talk about like what her life as an 18th century French woman who's poor, I believe she was poor.
Yeah.
Would have been like if she had decided to get married. And I think she was marrying like a widower with like 3 kids or something, which sucks in general.
So we're looking at what Addie's life would have been like if this book was not.
Yeah, if she never would have made the deal with Luke.
It would be a completely different book.
We would, yeah, it would be a very sad, depressing book,
Yep.
honestly. So in the 18th century is when we started to see a shift. So like before it was arranged marriages and the parents like chose, but Addie LaRue comes at a very good time because during like 1850 after they're starting to shift to like making your own choice kind of thing.
But that was not the situation.
I know it wasn't the situation in the
I'm
book, but
no, I'm making sure I'm clear.
No, I think her dad wanted that to happen, if I remember correctly. But we were starting to see more of a free choice and like this kind of sexual revolution, even like amongst poorer people. Like I guess you would see it in like the courts and stuff, obviously. And I think that even actually poorer or middle class people had like more of a choice than the people who were living in the courts did.
I would say that makes sense.
Yeah, because obviously
power and money, baby.
Yeah, and yeah, gotta marry the richest man that you can. So many historians have discovered that before 1750, which is a little bit after Addie LaRue's time, I think she's 1717 or something like that. Katie said, I don't know.
No.
Many living in the cities would not move out of their parents' house until they were teens, and they would train themselves or get an education or look for work, and they wouldn't marry till a decade later. So they're not even marrying super young, which is also not the case with Addie LaRue.
She was young,
She was very young. Yeah. I don't remember
in her 20s at least.
Yes.
Or younger.
Right. So this is saying that if Addie LaRue was in her 20s, she would still be working or getting an education or under an apprenticeship. Women would not start to look for husbands until their mid 20s, 25-ish, and men would not start looking for wives until their late 20s and get married. So, you are actually depressed. Honestly, you are not saying anything.
Well, I'm very interested.
Okay,
but yes,
okay.
I'm also depressed. Damn.
And then some wouldn't even have their parents alive whenever that time came. Like they're almost 30 now at this point, and half their parents wouldn't even be alive. So they didn't really have a choice. There were times where they had like an aunt or something, or if they had an older sibling, that they would maybe pick somebody out for them, but
So what you're saying is they had to have free choice because there was no one there to pick for them?
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes. Obviously, this is a case by case scenario, right? Like maybe Addie Larue is her dad was. He said no. I'm just going to continue to pick stuff out. But there was a revelation during this time where people were able to kind of more freely choose who they got to marry. But then it got smashed later on.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's only this brief time. You know that brief time during like Queen Elizabeth, Elizabeth the 1st
Mm-hmm.
that Elizabeth, not the recent one.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. There's a very small window where it was like popular to educate women. That's what this was. It was becoming popular to make a free choice, but then I think Napoleon came or something, and then
It got ripped
he
away.
said, sorry, arranged marriages 100%.
Hey, did you read my shirt today?
Fundamental rights.
Girls just want to have fundamental human rights.
Yeah, we love it. That's
Love it for
exactly
Addie.
what
Yeah.
Addie would want you to wear.
I know.
Okay, so I said that like teens living in urban areas had a lot more freedom to choose, and possibly even more than the countryside. Even so, like this middle class people had more freedom to choose than like poorer people or richer people. This is also a time where sexuality is considered okay and even the norm to like engage in premarital sex.
Which, that's crazy to think about.
It's so
Like,
weird. I know. I was reading
yeah.
that and I was like, what the heck? So there was these court cases where if a woman found herself sleeping with a man for funsies, and the man was like telling her that he loved her and we're gonna get married, and then he got her pregnant and then said psych,
I'm out.
she could take him to court. And most of the time the reason that they took him to court is so that he would marry her,
Right, to help with the growing child.
to help the growing child. And she's like, dude,
You did this to me.
Yeah, you did this to me. You told me that you love me. What the heck? And then you just ditched out. So her family or her would take this dude to court, and basically most of the time they sided with the victim and they ended up having to get married, or they would compensate them, kind of like child support today.
Wild.
Yeah, but we wouldn't force anybody to marry some, but they did.
No.
They said, you guys,
They said put a ring on it.
she said put a ring on it. You force against your will. You don't want an arranged marriage? Well, that sucks. Now you're getting one, so
It's too bad.
Hold on, Alex. I lost my place. So most of these cases were done by like middle or low class women. The higher up people didn't do it because they could end up pregnant and they like would still kind of be okay, you know.
Well, and like we said, they were probably still in arranged marriage for power and money. And
right.
So no matter what, they're fine.
Right, exactly. Most likely because a suitable marriage and a need for a man to help them provide for the child was like kind of crucial, but like kind of crucial, you know.
I mean, okay.
Like you have to live. So and also not only was like this sexual freedom and premarital whatever arising during this time, but also divorce would not become legal until 1792 in France. And then it was abolished again in 1816.
I
so
just
like
don't understand.
divorce, okay, for a while. And then Napoleon slept in and he's like,
actually, you're stuck.
I want all of you guys to be unhappy.
Depression for everyone.
Seriously. So anyways, that's kind of what I had for the marriage. It was very hard to research, just so you know. Basically,
You're doing God's work over here. Honestly,
it was so hard.
Round of applause for Allison.
Thank you.
And a moment of silence for me.
Yeah. Because I kept coming across like British, and I was like, well, I don't know if it would have been I feel like it would have been the same in Britain as it would France, but I didn't know that, so I just want to stick with my guns. But basically, she just would have been poor and had to take care of 3 kids, and she couldn't get a divorce because
outlaw
1792 wasn't even a thing. Well, she was 1717, so she would have been freaking 100 years old by the time she got a divorce. Not maybe 100, but anyways, and she couldn't freely marry.
No.
Technically, because they didn't really start doing that till 1750. And again, it was middle class. So
yeah, that was a good little lesson.
thank you. It was very small. I
Well,
apologize.
so was my book summary.
It's fine. I just want to tell you guys how much I love this book again. It will forever be engraved in my heart.
And I just want to apologize. I didn't do it the justice I would have wanted to on any normal week.
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
Addie Larue forgives you. And I do too.
So. And I hope Luke forgives me and doesn't come for me.
Hopefully not. Hopefully he doesn't come for me. So why didn't you research how to make a pact with me?
But if he does, I mean.
Okay, shout out to Erica because she's the one that told me about this. And it was just as we were becoming friends and stuff. We literally bonded over this book. And she said, I really want to recommend a book to you, Allie. We didn't really know each other a whole lot. She had just recommended ACOTAR, and she was already worried about that because, fairy
porn.
Yeah, I didn't know if I could say that.
Well, we've already said door porn, so
this is true.
Let's go for it.
So anyway, she's like, I don't know if I want to recommend this book to you. I said, what is it? Like, I loved ACOTAR, so like, I'm gonna love this. She's like, there like might be like a devil love interest and demonic, dark, handsome person,
And I said, like, sign me up.
I said, I'm gonna read it. And then I was like, no, I understand why you love him.
Yeah.
I too love the dark god.
Even though that this is a very short and sweet episode. Just
very short.
Yeah, just to know that we love this book.
Yeah.
Even though I gave it a 4, I'm gonna reread it, and I know it's gonna be a 5 because I didn't even understand.
Someday I will too reread it someday.
And it's obviously a 5 for Allie. It's one of her all-time faves. So if you read this book and
book boyfriends,
you have thoughts, please share it with us. Comment on our videos or our go to our Facebook group, and we want to talk about it
because I'll comment to everybody. Every single person.
She says that, but she can't even text me back, so don't expect it.
I can't or I don't want to.
Oh! Okay. Well, I'm going to go, actually.
She's already depressed. She said, actually, I'm just depressed.
Where's my keys? But yeah, that's all we have this week. And thank you for listening.
Bye.
Adios.